everybody. Welcome to First Glance with Jody Vance. It is time for us to talk about a subject that I am learning fast and furious. And one of the people teaching me is our next guest. We are talking uranium, and we are talking with Alex Klenman of Azincourt Energy. And if you're just going to jot down what the stock symbol is here as we begin our discussion, it is AAZ on the TSE Venture Exchange. That is Azincourt Energy, AZINCOURT. So just getting the details out of the way, because Alex, we haven't talked in almost a year. That just seems, I can't believe it.
Well, we're being let in on the cruelty of inevitability, and which is the older you get, the faster it goes, and boom, zoom. Those fence posts are ripping by now, aren't they?
Yeah, we're the Ferris Buellers of business here, because life comes at you fast. Yeah. But I want to pause here and find out where we're at with regard to Azincourt Energy, and in particular, where the uranium markets have been, where they are now, and where you are prospectively seeing them go.
No, well, it's a complicated question and a diluted answer that I will try to hone in on. The reality is, 2021, 2022, there was a lot of optimism in the space. There still is, but there's a bigger macro picture that's really affecting all equities, all markets. We've got war in Europe, we have inflation, we have recession, we have bank failures, we have all of these things that are contributing to a really weak market. There's just no way to sugarcoat it. It is bad. It hasn't been this bad for quite a while. So, we're fighting through it, and we're trying to get work done, and kind of just, I think the big thing when you get caught in these little moments is letting people know that markets go down, markets go up, and we're in a down, but that doesn't last forever. And you may not see light at the end of the tunnel, but we are going to get out of this dark tunnel. So just patience is sort of the number one virtue to have in this type of environment.
So where does uranium fit into that bigger picture that you've laid out there? I mean, there's a lot of discussion about the need for it, how the need might grow for it, certainly given the targets to reduce fossil fuel emissions.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, everything that got everyone excited in mid-2021 is still very much on the table. The number of reactors in the build process and the planning process is growing exponentially. Recently, countries like Germany and other European nations have expressed interest to push further down this road. So we know that supply and demand fundamentals are very much a part of what we do, and that'll get us out of this dark period. And really, commodity prices are somewhat depressed. I mean, gold is doing okay, but we don't really have sentiment, which I always like to talk about. But yeah, where we are in this space, alternative fuels, is, we all know it's coming, and that's where it's going to be. We're in the right place at the right time. You can't fight progress.
Right. What were you going to say there about sentiment?
Well, I'm one of those people. Sentiment is the biggest factor in the markets. There are no geniuses without sentiment, and everybody, there's a lot of people in this business, in the capital markets business, who take a lot of credit for sentiment. I am a genius. It's timing. And I use this analogy. I overuse it. But if you're on a sailboat and the captain puts up his sail and it doesn't go anywhere, you look at the captain and you say, what's happening? It's the wind. When the boat moves, the captain just happens to be the guy putting up, or he or she, puts the sail up, and away you go. At the end of the day, that's all we do really here. We look really good when there's sentiment in the market. A bull market brings everyone into it, and we all look great. Capital's available, stocks trade, fortunes are made. Conversely, you get into bear markets where without the sentiment, we're exposed. We just we're captains of sailboats that don't go anywhere.
Let's talk about specifics here with regard to Azincourt Energy and the Athabasca Basin, Peru, your most recent drill results. Let's pardon this pun, but I'm using it anyway. Let's dig into it. Let's dig into it.
Let's go. Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, so our main gig is the East Preston project in the western Athabasca.
Yes.
It's a 25,000 hectare exploration project. We are, getting closer every time we put drills in the ground. This latest drill program got us into. I guess the easiest way to back up here is we're using a model, exploration model. It's sort of a bullseye targeting. So where the uranium is, there's layers around it. Consensual? No, what's the word? The circles.
Oh, you know what? I don't
I'm
know the
having a
term for
blank.
that. I
We'll
know
have
what you're
a blank.
saying though. But
Concentric.
if the
Concentric.
concentric
Thank you.
concentric circles, yes,
Circle.
yes. See,
Okay,
I
so
mean,
I know.
eventually it comes to us.
The signposts are going by fast. That's horrible. Okay, so what we're after last year, for example, was we got into these what's called hematite alteration. And these are typically found on the outer circle of that bullseye. This year, we've gotten into the clays. So the clays are really critical. You have to get elites and dravite, and these things are very close to mineralization. We've run into those, which is really good news. We're waiting for the results. We want to see what the analytical results tell us in terms of uranium content within those clays, but definitely a positive out of this drill program. The negative is, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, costs were really high. So we got less holes done for almost the same amount of money spent last year. And that's just, everyone's seeing it at the grocery store. You're seeing it everywhere and with everything that you do. Labor, materials, everything costs more. And we did budget. The contingency budget was sort of put there to allow us to deal with inflationary costs. But we still went a little bit over that. So that's the only downside. And hopefully we'll see where we are for the next program in terms of costs. But we're still well capitalized. We're moving forward. Now, we've given up our Peruvian projects. You did mention that.
Okay.
Yeah, we moved on. We want to do things closer to home. Peru is, it's a different place. Yeah. We like the projects, but look, our success is going to be closer to home, and that's what we're doing. We're concentrating on our property in Saskatchewan. We have another one, an earn-in with another company for a second project that's sort of held up at the moment, but we're also looking for something else, and maybe we'll see something materialize over the next few weeks in that regard.
Well, you'll have to keep us posted on that. Let's talk about some of the things I really appreciate. I got to say, we're speaking with Alex Klenman, who's the president, CEO, and director of Azincourt Energy, AAZ, on the TSE Venture Exchange. Alex, I love the fact that you don't sugarcoat things. And there are so many people right now who are feeling the pain that you're talking about. Like, this is not exclusive to your company. This is not exclusive to this lane in mining. This is not exclusive. This is incredibly prevalent when you talk about having had a budget and then you had a cushion built into the budget. And I mean, I can tell you that my trip to the grocery store doesn't have the cushion of the cushion's cushion built into it, helping me out. So this is just the reality that we're living in right now. And yet you trim back on expenditures. If you're look at, okay, we're going to let Peru go, we're going to focus more close to home and then expand here and build toward that. If you're putting your plan together from a business perspective, give us an idea of what happens around the planning table when your expectations are there. You're going to the mining convention and somebody says, "What's going on with Azincourt?" What do you say?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because there's a perfect example of cutting costs. Don't go to the conventions. Airfare and hotels,
right?
Yeah. No, our plan, look, moving forward, really what we want to do, we know we're onto something at East Preston. We're entirely confident that impactful discovery will happen. It's kind of a conundrum because we've got so much ground to choose from, and it may take a little while, but we're patient. You have to be patient. But planning really goes into, you have to look at everything. We are going to reduce costs moving forward in this environment. We know we can access some capital, and we probably will. But where we were in 2020 and 2021 in terms of the ability for a pre-discovery exploration company like us to be able to access significant capital, it's just not there like it was in 20
a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So we make adjustments, but we also know you don't want to be caught doing nothing in the downtime. You need to progress. So when the sentiment comes back and capital comes flowing back, you can speak to something. You haven't been in a state of
frozen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
frozen state.
Yeah.
Uh,
Holding.
yeah,
Yeah.
just waiting for something to happen. You get the work done. But we have a couple of things on the go that we think are really going to help. And as I mentioned, I'm kind of teasing to it a little bit, but
I know you're going to have to come back and visit us here on the
yeah,
program.
no, we're
Yeah.
excited. We're headed in good directions, and I think it's going to benefit everybody.
Tell us, for those who maybe didn't see our first glance from a year ago, as we've mentioned, it's been a little bit. Give us a little backstory on the company, how it came together, who you are,
Yeah,
what it looks like. So if somebody's
sure.
going, you know what, these sound like hardworking people that are going to work hard even when it's not a big hit in the
Well,
short term,
yeah,
you know.
no, well, the company's been around since 20, I want to say 2012, 2013, 2014. I got involved in 2017. I was a shareholder. I knew the former chairman of the company, a man named Ian Stalker, who had big success in the uranium space. And Ian made an introduction, sort of brought me in, and I never left. So since 2017. And I've known the space. I briefly had a little run in 2010 to 2012 where we had a real bull market and a lot of fortunes were made, and I made a couple dollars off of a couple of deals, and I thought, wow, this space can be prolific, and so I wanted to get into it from a more involved standpoint. I was able to do that with Azincourt. So we were a uranium company all along. When I came in, I changed the name to Azincourt Energy. Part of that reason was to encompass other alternative fuels. And again, not going to
That's the tease.
yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
No, well, yeah. Well, let's say we've had lithium in our portfolio, 2017, 2018, and into
Yeah,
2019. We had some lithium upside on the Peruvian projects as well.
I remember that.
So that's kind of what I didn't want to do, because uranium was in such a bear mode. You couldn't attract a dollar to uranium deals for so long. I felt, the survival of the company might be better if we encompass other alternative fuels, not just uranium.
Right.
So we've done
Right.
that. We did that then, and we'll see where the future goes, but there may be more along those lines. And that simply gives our shareholders more upside. It diversifies our focus, so we're not a one-trick pony. And if one market isn't going, maybe another one is. And if they both go at the same time, you've got a lot of horsepower.
That's great. Diversification within the company, important for prospective investors.
Yeah,
Hardworking, clearly, obviously,
yeah,
and the drive to do it. As you said, you've made a pretty penny and have been, leading the way within this company for some time, and going to muscle through the downtime to get it back to what you believe to be the future of it. And you do that when you're investing your own.
yeah.
That also helps with um, prospective investment, right?
Yeah, and look, a lot of what we do now, or what people like me do now, and I embrace it. It's tiring,
Yeah.
and it's taxing, but there's a lot of therapy that goes on in bad markets. So I get a lot of emails, a lot of calls from investors who, shareholders, let's just call them
Yeah.
shareholders, who say,
Shareholders.
what am I going to do? I'm down. This is
Yeah.
horrible. And you really have to have patience, because listen, I have a portfolio and I'm down. So I know
Yeah.
exactly where they're coming from. And you have to just kind of help calm the waters, and get the focus on more of a long-term situation. And people kind of get that.
Yeah.
It's not fun. Bear markets, bad markets are not fun.
No, not fun for anybody. And if anybody wants to talk to you, they can find you at Azincourt, excuse me, AZIN, azincourtenergy.com, correct?
Yeah, you email me. I'm pretty quick. I do have a lot of conversations with people,
Great.
and I try to make myself available, for good or for worse.
And you're
uh,
fun to talk to. Like, let's be real. You and I had a
well,
10-minute conversation before we hit record on
yeah,
this. We were talking
yeah,
about all
no,
kinds of stuff. I
it's
was
fun.
scanning your books behind you
Yeah,
because,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've read all of them, Jody.
of course you have.
Yeah. All those
I grew
1940s,
these.
those
No,
1940s penguins back there. Yeah.
you have a great day. Always great to chat with you. And do circle back when you can tell us more
I
about your
shall.
teas for what's next.
I shall. I appreciate your time as always. Good to see you, and stay strong and stay good in these awful inflationary times, but it will change.
We're going to make it through. We're going to make it through. Alex Klenman, the president, CEO, and director, Azincourt Energy on First Class with Jody Vance. See you next time.